Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Thomann's Drum Bash. My name is Simon. And today is a very special day because we have our very first guest artist visiting the Thomann Drum Bash studio. And it's Mr. ASH SOAN. Hey,
Thanks.
Ash.
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome.
Thanks for inviting me over.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you. And yeah, if you don't know Ash, he's like the first call session musician out of the UK. He played with Adele, Ronan Keating, Robbie Williams, Billy Idol. The list is endless with great names. And yeah, and here you are in this little studio over here.
Fantastic little studio, yeah.
Cool, thanks. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I do indeed. I like the decor.
Oh yeah, the old vinyls.
I like the coffee so far.
Oh, cool.
Everything's good.
Nice, yeah. So Ash, to start off, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the drum world, actually.
Yeah. Well, I'm 50 years old this year.
All right.
And I started playing drums when I was 10.
All right, 40 years ago, wow.
And, you know, so yeah, I'm still doing it, which is incredible. And funnily enough, someone was asking me, you know, what did you think was going to be when you start reaching my age as a musician? Are you going to be playing still?
Yeah.
You know, are people still going to be calling you for sessions? You know, and I definitely remember in my sort of late teens, early 20s, thinking, I wonder what it will be like. Will I be doing this? Because I was enjoying it so much, music, and I wondered, is this going to carry on? You know, lots of people, you try and get a gig, and then you get one gig and you're like, well, that was brilliant, you know, maybe a tour or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you just want it to just keep going. And I remember thinking in my early 20s, is this going to sustain itself? And now I'm this age, I'm actually busier now than I've ever been.
Did you have any like familiar or family influences?
No,
Like, no,
this was just my dad played me a record.
Okay.
A guy called Sandy Nelson. It's Let There Be Drums.
Okay.
And it's, you know, it's a 60s tune, and it's just like the simplest thing ever. It's just this thing. And you know, at 10 years old, that blew my mind. I'd never heard anything quite like it. Oh, there's two things. There's an electric guitar on it and drums. That's it.
That's it.
And it was a
Right.
hit in the 60s. The other thing that was overriding for me was, as soon as I found it, I'm like, that's me done. This is definitely what I'm going to do. And I've, you know, thankfully, touch Vic Firth wood, it's worked out. There's lots of guys that are trying to make a living out of music.
Yeah.
And just to survive is tricky.
Yeah, it is.
You
tricky,
know,
yeah. Especially these days.
Yeah. Well, there's so many great people.
Yeah.
You know, if I think about when I started, so in the sort of late 80s, playing to a click was quite an unusual, quite an unusual thing.
Do you actually know when that came up?
End of the 70s.
End of the 70s.
Yeah, really. And then the 80s is when that sound started to happen, which was machines crossed with real drums. And a lot of drummers at the time, they either like just disappeared or they tried to do the thing. And a lot of guys tried to do it, and you know, some guys did it very, very well. Now, weirdly, it's completely flipped on its head. Because now with the advent of Pro Tools, you know, you don't need to be able to play completely to the grid. I've said it. But because, you know, you just Apple A, one little click, and there you are. You're now on the grid.
Yeah.
It's a very different thing now. I think producers want you to play like a real drummer, like, you know, like a human. So that the things they can't program. So is that slightly speeding up into the chorus? Oh yeah. But it's still kind of in the realms of being with the click. Those things they can program, but it takes forever to make those little things that we do all the time. And it's interesting with the whole click world and recording now. People want absolute precision, and sometimes, you know, the sort of the really cool stuff happens when it's not so precise in some respects.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. So talking about all that studio work, how do you prepare for that kind of
that
session?
world?
Yeah, for that world. When you get a call from, I don't know, maybe Robbie Williams or whoever you work with.
Well, hopefully the producer will send you
tracks,
demos of the tracks and an idea of what they need. And
so you actually get an idea of what kind of groove you have to do on a record.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Okay.
The most exciting ones, of course, are that when they go, we don't know what we want on this.
Yeah.
So that's great. And then it's totally fine for you to try some things. And if they don't work, that's okay, because you're just trying stuff out, you know. But my favourite sessions are definitely when they go, we're not really sure what we need on this. And with Robbie was an interesting one because the first day, so you know when we were setting the gear up, I was setting my drums up and I looked up and he's at the session. We hadn't even got sound and he was already there, like, let's go, ready to go, in SOAN Studios in West London, which isn't there now, sadly, but used to be the old Island Records. So he was really keen and input into the record. It's nice to have people, artists that are into what they're doing. The one Adele track that I played on, she was there. You know, I walked through the door and she's on her phone, sat on a stool, and she was absolutely involved in the session, for all of it.
She also told you what you didn't like?
We had an idea, we chucked some ideas around, we had a rough idea of what the drum part was going to be. I did some takes and we talked about it. Then there's on Set Fire to the Rain is the song that I played on. On the verse, there's like a little snare, a little military snare thing, and that was her idea.
Oh, right, cool.
Yeah, she heard that and she sang it to me. She's like, you know, I don't know, like, so I went in and she's looking through the glass and they roll the thing and I'm chucking some ideas around as an overdub.
Yeah.
And then I look through the glass and she's going like that. So it's like, cool, you know. So she's definitely involved.
So let's talk a little bit about your equipment, and maybe we stick a little bit into that studio session thing. So when you go to whatever kind of studio, or maybe your own studio, like the Windmill.
This is very similar setup to what I have at my house, and these kits I really like. These are Gretsch Broadkasters, and what I like about them is they obviously the new drum kits, and they've got the zing of a new drum kit, but you can make them sound like an older more vintage sound. So it's a brilliant balance between the two worlds. I really like them. So they work great for me. You know, for traditional songwriters like them, but then you can make them also sound relatively, modern. And cymbal-wise, I really like these. These are new beats.
14-inch or?
Just 14-inch new beats. And I know there's a trend to sort of play
like bigger
16, 17, whatever.
I've got a 15-inch over here.
Yeah, 15s are cool. The thing is, for me, like all the drummers that I listened to, in the old days, I keep referring to your wall here because there's so many people on there, like Phil Gould, from Level 42. Where did I see him? There. I remember hearing them in the late 80s, early 80s rather. And now I'm friends with Phil, and we've talked about it. And he used 14s.
Is this why you picked them?
As far as recording's concerned, they just sit in that place for me. Like, producers never go, oh God, they're a bit. No one ever mentions the hat. It's in a good way. They never go, oh, they're a little bit too bright, or they're a little bit too dark, or that they're getting in the way. No one ever mentions. And I've actually the set that I do use are older, but it's essentially the same sound. I really like these, and I just think they sit so nicely in the mix, This is an 18-inch Carope. I like the, again, same with the kit really. There's a little bit of zing with it, but there's also that nice undercurrent of vintage heritage on it. I used a few different rides. This one's Constantinople overhammered, but again, that same sort of dark.
Yeah, that character.
But still got some life up here. Some of the tracks that I play on clinics, I kind of they're almost fusion-y tracks. So this is about as wild as I go, sort of sound-wise. But this is a Trash Crash 17-inch special dry, and I really like that. It's really quick and cool.
So Ash, we were just talking about your equipment and cymbals that you use in the studio.
Yeah, the basic setup, yeah.
Right, yeah, but you also brought some special stuff from Zildjian.
Yes.
So maybe you can show or talk about it.
Yeah, fantastic. Gerd from Zildjian, Germany brought a whole bunch of fantastic things. And some of them I've never played until today, to be honest.
Oh, really?
So this FX stack line is something I've seen on videos and stuff, but I've not played them until today. They're very, very cool. And they come in, let me get this right, they're 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 sizes. And they're really cool. I mean, I've just started to play with them today, and you can set them up as a hi-hat, or like in this sort of more of a sort of traditional stacker.
Oh, right. So you have two
options
in one.
Yeah.
Cool, that's cool.
And the packs are really cool. I think they come with a section that in the centre, you know, like with its own stand essentially.
Oh, okay.
In the box, so they're pretty cool.
Cool.
And then Zildjian have added to their suite line. These are 14-inch suite hi-hats. Currently, there's 15 and 16s available. So this is new, the 14s. So that's right up my street, 14s. And then a couple of crashes here. These are the cluster crashes. I really love them. You know, they've got the brightness, but also there's that really fantastic dry sound. I think the reason they're calling them clusters is there's little areas where they've hammered in one place. I don't know if you can see it on there.
Oh, yeah.
And Paul Francis, you know, the Zildjian cymbal developer, makes all the cymbals. He was telling me about this and how he experimented with little clusters of hits, basically, dog paws kind of thing, and the way they darken the cymbal up and make it shorter. Okay. These are really beautiful. Love those.
What sizes are those you have here?
So these in the crashes, there's 18, 16. 20. Okay. So this is the 20 and this is the 18 and there's a 16 too. And then there's an enormous Crash of Doom that Gerd's brought along.
Oh my God.
This thing, which is unbelievable.
Sounds a little bit like a Chinese gong.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. This is 22 inches, and Gerd was telling me that each one is it's kind of different. You know, I guess the shape, right, and the hammering, of course, is going to be different. So they're kind of individual sounding cymbals. You might get 4 or 5 of them, and they sound different. Unlike some other brands, which all sound the same. No, yeah, it's a fantastic thing. I've never played one until today, but it's certainly something that would be handy. You know, especially with the old movie scores and stuff like that. Yeah, so a lot of really cool things. I'm going to do some playing a little bit later.
Yes,
and I think I'll use this setup so you'll hear them in a musical context as well.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give an advice for the younger generation about what's important to work in the studio as a drummer. What is the role? What in like maybe especially pop music or
Yeah.
pop and rock?
Well, I mean,
So
you know, we talked earlier about click.
Yeah.
Click is, you know, love it or hate it, it's definitely top of the list. You've got to be able to play to a click comfortably. And then sound, you know, just try and find your own sound if you can. It's good to be able to play many different styles if you want to be a session guy, for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, versatility. Click, sound, versatility. That's three good ones.
Yeah, it is. Cool. So, that's it. We are shooting a couple of videos with Ash where he was just talking about like a performance video, and I think you're playing also to a little bit of some music, right?
Some music,
that you
Actual
brought.
music.
Woo, actual music. And then there's another one. You'll see everything on the channel when it will be released. Ash, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
It was my pleasure to have you here. Thanks for stopping by for just a day trip. It's
Yeah,
a pretty
lovely
cool
day
trip.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
yeah, you're welcome. I thank you. And thanks to Gert, who's sitting in the background.
Yes,
for
thanks,
making
Zildjian,
this
as
possible.
always.
And
Good. Always get looked after. You're a fellow Zildjian. Yeah. Always looked after every single time.
Okay, so the links to all the equipment we used is down in the video description. If you enjoyed this video, leave us a like, subscribe to the channel. We have more guest artists hopefully coming.
Yeah.
And Ash was the first one, so thanks once again.
Depends on the likes you get on YouTube. So,
Oh yeah, right, yeah. So please, ring the bell to get the notifications. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. And if you'd like, maybe we can just do one last jam together and say bye.
Yes.
To that? Okay, cool. Thanks.
Go for it.
So, see you later.
See you soon.